All right. I'm sure many of you are aware by now that there's a viral video making the rounds accusing us, the Babylon Bee, of being in bed with big tech. The guy who made the video doesn't refer to us by name. Instead, he calls us Big Con, a backhanded reference to our towering stature in the conservative world. You might be surprised to hear this, but we're not offended by that characterization. In fact, we're proud of our dominance. It took a lot of effort, not mine, but effort nonetheless, to get to where we are today. I'm sure that by now you've also seen the response from a little media startup called the Daily Wire, who awkwardly assumed Big Con was a reference to them. I know. I thought that was cute too. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and set the record straight. We're not sorry for being the biggest and the best. We earned our subscriber with our joke. And we're certainly not going to be goaded into a conflict with allies unless we can think of a way to monetize it. We're going to get back to work now. So please share this video. Or don't. When you're this big, who cares?
Their single subscriber they got from their joke.
Oh, that was the Babylon Bee.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
The Babylon Bee is amazing.
So that is all we're talking about this topic. You heard it straight from Seth Dillon, the CEO's mouth.
Is that the entire episode?
No, that's not the entire episode. That's just all we're saying about that topic. Okay. Yeah.
I'm amazed that this required a topic. I mean, look.
Oh, do you have no idea what's going on?
You know I don't.
Oh.
I don't follow the bullshit. No.
Okay.
Look.
All right.
Somebody did a dumb, and they called out the Babylon Bee like a bunch of fucking retards.
No, that's not what happened.
And the Bee put them in their place with comedy because that's what the Bee do.
No, it's funnier than that, Rune.
Oh God.
So Steven Crowder posted a video calling out. Well, he didn't call out anybody in particular. He just said, "Hey, there's a problem in the right-wing media sphere where they're doing these bullshit contracts. This was a contract I was offered. This needs to stop." He didn't name anybody and whatever. Then the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's company, comes out and says like, "Hey, that was our contract, but Steven Crowder's wrong," and yada, yada, yada. And it's been this big back and forth for like 4 days now. So the Babylon Bee was like,
Bee mocked them as the Bee does.
Yes. That's why I said it's funnier than what.
Here's the thing. There was a narrow window in time. Okay. When I would watch The Daily Show back when it had Jon Stewart, because whether you like him or not, whether you agree with his politics or not, Jon Stewart is actually funny.
Yeah.
Right. The writer's room he had was actually qualitative. And I would watch Colbert, because I'll make fun of both sides. I don't give a shit. Funny's funny, right? Colbert's off doing what, the Tonight Show or some shit.
I have no idea.
He's doing late night now, and he's not funny. And it's like, as much as I occasionally agree with what he's got to say, he should focus on being funny, right? Jon Stewart went off to be an activist. I mean, he's an old Jew. He hasn't got a lot of years left. I get it. He wants to leave a civil mark after many years of being funny. And now his show is a dumpster fire because the inmates are running the asylum.
Right.
I also, at about the same period in time, because I was in college, used to read Cracked, because Cracked used to be funny.
Oh, Cracked used to be great.
Right. And then Crack decided, you know what? Let's drink the Kool-Aid. Let's go hard politics. And it's like, is that really what you want to do, Cracked? Is that the direction you want to take? Do you want to be more snarky politicals? Do you just want to be the Young Turks diet? So
not even. It's they turned into like the Walmart brand Young Turks.
The Fanta code Young Turks. So it's like the Babylon Bee. The Babylon Bee is about one step removed from the Weekly World News, right? But I don't like pay attention to the Bee religiously. Just every so often, they will say something funny that'll come across my desk, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was nice."
Yeah, I mean,
they define sensible chuckle.
Yeah, I don't think I might have read one actual quote unquote article, which was like 2 paragraphs, maybe 3.
Oh, I've
But
read a couple of articles. They are always great.
yeah, but I mean, mostly it's just their headline and their Photoshop like cover photo is enough
Well-
to make to at least get a smirk.
Well, my favorite, like, what will actually stop and be like, dude, I gotta share this. This is great. Is when I will find an article and I will read it without seeing who it's from, and I will think it's real because it's so fucking retarded. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta tell people that this is the fucking Babylon Bee. And then
Well, you know they have a secondary thing that's called Not the Bee, which is an aggregate of just like the weirdest news stories they can possibly find that should be jokes and satire, but they're not.
I did not.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, if you're looking for chuckles, I'm gonna shout out for a channel. They don't even know we're doing it. They don't even know I exist, but I'm gonna do it. There's a guy you should look up on YouTube. His name is Rob Gavigan. Okay, he used to be Rob Van Dyke, right? But somebody complained to YouTube, and the algorithm says that Van Dyke, the popular hairstyle and last name,
Yeah,
is a slur. So he had to switch to his mother's maiden name to save his channel.
jeez.
But my mom and I, back in the day, used to watch a series of videos he had done called "Why Would You Put That on the Internet?"
Oh, I think I've seen that.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is the person that thinks that they can cure ailments by putting pee in their eyes.
So, just a quick look at Not the Bee.
Okay.
One of their newest posts says, are we all just going to ignore the fact that George Santos in drag and Gretchen Whitmer, who's the governor of Michigan, are the same person with a photo of them next to each other and they look almost identical?
I don't know if it was Larry Church or just a random someone, but somebody had the perfect response. They said, I don't care about drag queens in government. I care about liars and thieves in government.
But yeah, that I'm trying to. They typically post stuff on their Instagram, but they looks like they haven't posted anything in the last little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, so the Babylon Bee video was all we were going to talk about it because I thought Rune knew the drama.
Right.
But
No,
anyways,
why would you think that I know drama?
I don't know.
It's actually hilarious because I know some dramas, but I don't know the dramas that you guys know about. So it's like a drama cyclone where we all know different drama. I'm sure Larry has an entirely third set of drama he's gonna bring.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff with Ethan Ruff that's been happening that I can't even attempt to keep up with.
Oh God, no! I can't. I gave up trying to keep up with that a long time ago. I just enjoy the train wreck.
Yeah, which is fine. But anyways, welcome to the show, folks. We are churchless tonight. He unfortunately got really drunk last night and watched an interview with Michelle Obama and then decided to break into the zoo and try and ride a gorilla, and he is now in jail. So he won't be joining us tonight.
See, I thought you were being mocking, but that actually sounds believable. Is Church in jail tonight?
No, he's not actually in jail.
Okay. I'm here to save you, Harambe.
I said he watched an interview with Michelle Obama and then had to go break into the zoo to try and ride a gorilla.
I'm telling you, I can imagine Church getting drunk and doing some very stupid things.
No, he's got kids now. He can't be up to that.
Long-suffering Mrs. Church is like, God damn it.
Where in the fuck is Larry? He retweeted the show tweet.
I don't know, but I'll give him a poke in the whatever. Because he's got the time to crack wise about the combat wheelchair in D&D. He might as well show up to the fucking show.
Oh, will you send me a link to an article or something on that? We're totally talking about that. after you poke Larry and while I pull,
it's.
while
I mean, I will poke him, but it's a non-issue. It's a dead issue, but the dumb broad brought it up. She rejuvenated it from the dead.
well, while you do all that, I'm going to pull up this first article that I have
Right.
ready.
No, I'll get you. I'll get you.
Let's see. Alec Baldwin to be charged with involuntary manslaughter in Rust movie set shooting.
I mean, the wheels move slowly, but they move.
So, oh, you probably don't know anything about this announcement either.
No,
do you?
I do.
Oh, so you know they
I in
found
fact had seen
live.
that headline.
Did you read into
Yeah.
it? They found live ammunition mixed in with the blanks and live ammunition on his belt.
Right. We just don't know if
Okay.
it is actually him or if it was the prop guy. But he's
Right.
the one who pulled the trigger, so he's getting the
Yeah.
the hook.
Well, yeah, you're the one in possession of the tool that does it. It, you know, basics of gun safety, people.
Well,
Shall we go over them?
well, I mean, while I'm pulling this up, I'm just going to dig up something really, really old. People got to remember that Hollywood has a history of this sort of thing going back a very long time, because they're still sensitive after the passing of Brandon Lee, which was an actual accident.
I like how you're.
I'm not saying this
insinuating that
wasn't
he did
an
this
accident,
on purpose.
No, I'm not actually saying this was a intentional, but I am saying, like, when it happened, everyone, including the guy who actually pulled the trigger, was like, "What the fuck? Holy shit! Oh my god!" Right? Whereas in this case, there was a lot of hemming and hawing about, well, it wasn't me, but I did pull the trigger. But well, it wasn't him, but it was something else.
Oh.
It's like just cop to it. Somebody fucking cop to it.
Oh, I watched his interview with the police like right after it happened, and he was all over the place.
I would hope so.
Like,
I mean, we just hope it was not cocaine.
Well, I don't think so, but he was saying all kinds of stuff, like saying there was no way he could have known that they weren't the essentially snapper cap rounds. They're rounds, so if you shoot down the barrel and the cylinder, it looks like there's bullets in there, but they don't. It's just, I mean, it's just brass.
I mean, look, you already said the answer. The answer is proper firearm safety.
Yeah. Well,
you never wield a firearm you haven't test fired personally, and you very strictly keep your ammo separate.
Well, no, the four basic principles are always assume every gun is loaded.
Right.
Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Know what your target is and what's behind it, and don't point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy.
Right.
So
the things I mentioned are also valuable, but they're ancillary.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is that on set, those are two problems. Is one, someone wasn't managing the ammo if the ammo was all mixed together. You've got to have that shit separate, and you've got to have that stuff marked with tape.
Well,
blue is for safe, red is for live.
Well, no, you can tell.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, there's basically you have prop guy, and then there's the guy that's specifically in charge of the armory if you're going to be using firearms on set.
Yeah.
And that's the armory guy's fucking job. Okay, so even if Baldwin pulled the trigger because he wasn't showing trigger discipline, there was a watershed of mistakes. A series of failures. Anyway. Yes, Baldwin's attorney, of course, it's a terrible miscarriage of justice and a flawed investigation.
I'm trying to find the very specific part of this. Oops. See.
Right. You look for that. I will be right back.
Yes.
In like just a minute.
See, Hall, the movie's assistant director, admitted less than a week after the shooting that he had not properly checked the gun for safety before handing it to the film's armorer. I'm not even going to try and say that name, who would pass along to Baldwin for the scene. Hutchins' death amplified a wave of rallying cries for safer film protocols on movie sets. Her family ultimately sued Biden. Does it not talk about the other? Oh, apparently it doesn't. Well, damn. Well, allegedly they found a lot of live ammo. Or live ammo is a misnomer because technically blanks are proper ammo, not effect ammo, I guess is a better term for that. But they found it all over the set, including in his gun belt, which, you know, I want to say I want to believe that he didn't. I want to believe he didn't do it on purpose, but still, if you have a a movie gun you're shooting with, don't take it out in between shoots and actually like use it for target practice. That seems like a bad idea because that's what they claim happened. Anyways, so let's see. The combat wheelchair. Hashtag open DND. Be prepared for tomorrow, as I will very likely be pulling the combat wheelchair from off of the open Google Drive it is stored on. If you want to download it for private use in your home game, follow the links. Do not put it anywhere online. Thanks for the 3 years we had.
Yeah, I snagged it. I have it for posterity.
Okay.
I haven't decided if I'm gonna go to somebody and be like, "Hey man, put this on the internet." But so, I am familiar with the wherewithal as to why she's doing this.
Well, explain to me what the fuck it even is first.
All right. We'll start with that. We'll start with the stupid that is that. I wish Larry was here. He'd love this.
And what the download thing is, because I don't understand that. You can't just mentally come up with a concept for a battle combat wheelchair.
No. We have to roll back to the stupid. So
okay.
This person, what is it? Mustang Art, whatever the fuck their name is.
Something like that.
Yeah, Mustang Art. This person works in nursing, orthopedics, assistance with disabled people.
Larry, it's in the Twitter. It's in the Twitter chat where it always is.
In the chat. Anyway, so this person works in the correct field. Okay? And they feel very, very bad that... God damn it, Larry. They feel very, very bad that, in their opinion, disabled people can't play D&D. Now, let's be clear. Nothing's preventing them from playing D&D at all. Okay? But their specific onus is they believe that disabled people don't feel seen by the ableist agenda of D&D because adventurers don't have disabilities, which isn't true. And we're talking about a fantasy setting with healing magic, regeneration, restoration, reincarnation, right? There are a lot of ways to undo what's wrong with you in D&D, right? So they conceived of the combat wheelchair. Now, this is not actually a bad idea, okay? Terry Pratchett, an author that I like, does a story called The Last Hero, and in it,
Larry,
a group of...
check your personal DMs. I sent it to you.
A group of very old adventurers decide to go on one last ride, and one of them, called Mad Hamish, is in a wheelchair. They push him around. He's got double axes. It's funny, right? So as a joke, it's great, right? But when you're talking about actual at the table role play, Larry, I'm gonna slap the crap out of you. He just sent me a message claiming that the link isn't in the Twitter chat, which it clearly is because I clicked it, you clicked it, it's there.
Well, I didn't click it. I sent it.
Right, it's there. Anyway,
while you're talking, I'll see if I can get Discord to open, and I'll send it to him over there.
In the logistics of a role-playing game, a wheelchair has a bunch of added difficulties. It's heavy. It requires chuck and pulley to move over pits. You have to have a space wide enough to be able to scuttle down a hallway. Right? There are all kinds of problems. Right? Now, and again, this brings it to, could you? Yes. Should you? Maybe not. Not unless you're signing on for difficulty.
It's funny as a lark.
Right.
I guess, but it doesn't make sense to like add as a permanent fixture.
Right. So here's the thing. Mustang Arts made a combat wheelchair first and foremost based off of modern sports wheelchairs. So in your medieval fantasy, we've got a wooden wheelchair with angled wheels and spokes and all kinds of extra stuff. Well, that's not right. But oh wait, it's a magic item you can take at creation at level 1. But it doesn't break anything, honest. Okay? It levitates. It can, if you fall, it can lower you down to the ground safely at speed. It can go up surfaces. Right? You can't target it with a regular attack. She edited it.
And Larry's here.
Hi, Larry. She edited it. You can now attack it. If you deal a critical hit, you will actually damage it. But you have to do 3 criticals, which is statistically impossible to destroy it.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
This thing is
an excellent solution to most problems.
Well, okay.
Build wheelies.
But before we continue, what the hell, Larry? What's up with your Twitter?
It's not in the DM.
It's totally there. That's how I got in here.
Okay, so is it before my comical suggestion for the opening song?
No, it's literally before your request for the link.
Nope, there's nothing there.
That's so weird. Yeah, and then Church sent it a second time, and then went to die.
I didn't get anything from Church.
Huh. Here, I'm gonna take a screenshot of that and send it to your private, and see if I can just send you anything.
Technology.
Anyways,
so the thing is, what this does, okay, is it makes people with disabilities superhumanly better than other characters. Pits, no problem. Falling, no problem.
You mean like the new Predator movie with the kid's super autism?
Yeah, kinda. Right? And the thing is that people like me, disabled people, came out and said, excuse me, we're not okay with this. Right? And gamers, just regular gamers interested in the vague notion of game balance, said, wait a minute, level 1 magic item? What the fuck? Right? A lot of people said, this isn't okay. Right? And first, they said, well, it's just optional. Right? And then her Twitter stands came out of the freaking woodwork to attack us for why are you trying to take away empowerment from disabled people? Why are you attacking cripples? It's like, we're not attacking cripples. We're attacking the idea of a combat wheelchair in a magical setting. Okay.
So it appears there's something bizarre going on with Twitter.
That is bizarre.
Can
And that
you see?
led
Can you see
to-
the picture I sent you on Twitter?
No, because there's no picture there.
Weird.
And Larry sent me a picture, and it does in fact show that he never got the link.
Yeah. Wow.
Twitter, what the hell?
Okay. Weird.
Twit space, catch up.
You know, now that I
Twitter-
think about it, Larry, I went to. What did I go to tag you? I think I might have gone to tag you in something like a week or so ago, and like you wouldn't pop up. I had to just type in your @ completely.
Yeah, Twitter's been doing that, so I might be on a Twitter shadow ban.
Hey, we did it. Somebody got banned. But anyway, so the thing is that the deeper you go in this rabbit hole, the more retarded it gets, which brought us to that image that Larry brought up, that old image actually, of somebody pointing out that a druid with disabilities in the combat wheelchair would also need a wheelchair in their wild form, which looks retarded. Right? So how did this come back into the fore when this was a dead subject? If you are not familiar, Wizards of the Coast recently put out a new open gaming license, or rather, a new open gaming license was quote-unquote leaked in Minecraft. That is
Well,
effectively...
we should just refer to it as a much more specific technical term called shitting the bed.
Yeah.
Wizards of the Coast shit the bed.
Yeah. It's bad. And then they tried to roll it back, and their rolling back is still bad. And it's an ongoing situation.
And D&D Shorts, whose channel I never really thought a whole lot of, has been doing a lot of really good work on digging stuff out.
Wow.
Including who was responsible for all of this.
Even though I hate that guy so much.
But he's been doing good work on this thing.
I appreciate that. I'm just saying, like, his YouTube personality is annoying. So the thing is that to show her solidarity with the gamers TM, Mustang is pulling down her free non-profit 5th edition combat wheelchair, but the thing is that rather than just say I'm pulling this down because I don't support what WotC's doing, she lied about it and said that she's under threat by WotC, and they're making her pull it down, which they're not. Right? And so now she is dramatically, with virtue and signal, pulling down her combat wheelchair. The reason that I found out about the combat wheelchair isn't even because of the combat wheelchair, because my brain goes, that's stupid, and then moves on. No, I found out about it because somebody did a combat wheelchair for Vampire the Masquerade.
So you're a vampire in a wheelchair?
Well,
Yes.
there's actually nothing wrong with that.
There was an infamous NPC who was in a box.
Here's the thing. If you're a Nosferatu and you are physically malformed by your embrace, there is nothing wrong with being put in a wheelchair. If you're a Malkavian who's so insane you can't function, there's nothing wrong with being put in a wheelchair. That all makes sense, right? The idea that in a modern setting, not only is it a wheelchair, but it's a magical wheelchair that floats, which is a masquerade breach, right? And that it is made pro bono. So vampires giving it away by a pair of Tremere, the House of Vampire Blood Wizards, best known for their illicit vampire magic experiments that were basically a medieval genocide on 3 clans who are one of the most hated clans in the setting, who ate the most beloved antediluvian of all 13 clans, whose nickname is the Usurpers, right? Giving away flying wheelchairs to anyone who wants them, and people take them and trust them not to be bugged,
That's not how
explosive,
vampire
or
works.
dangerous. It's like, no. And again, It's styled after sport wheelchairs, which I understand why sport wheelchairs are the way they are for like distance
Sports.
marathons and the like. But in regular use, I'm sorry, they look retarded. And they don't fit indoors.
Now, what if you made it like a crazy, like off-roading, like enduro wheelchair? Do you know what an enduro motorcycle is, Rune?
I do not.
Okay, I'll pull up a picture of one. So it's basically like another word would be dual sport. So it's like almost a dirt bike, but it can also be driven on the road. Hold on, let me get to.
Well, while you're pulling that up, here's the real problem. Okay, going back to D&D for just a minute. If you come to me and you say, Joe, I want to be a wizard and I want to have a awesome pimp throne that floats 3 feet above the ground.
So like
right?
this, but a wheelchair.
I mean, that's pretty neat. I've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
This one right here. That BMW, fuck yeah.
So wait. So you're saying, what if I want to make a wizard who's the size of Ethan Ralph and he floats on a chair?
No. That's called the Baron Harkonnen. You're playing Dune at that point. but no, what I'm getting at is, if you come to me and say, Joe,
maybe something like this, Rune.
I mean,
like
that's
pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. But the thing is it's not about the wheelchair itself. Okay, it's about the behavior and the presentation around it. Because what I was about to say is that if you come to me and you say, Joe, I want to be a wizard in a badass floating pimp throne, I'm like, well, you're level 1. Pimp throne is a goal. We'll see how far you get if you can get to the pimp throne. And then later, some levels later, when you have the spells and the time and the money, it's like, yes, you have built the floating throne. Feel free to float through dungeons and look badass. I'm okay with that. Because that at least is in keeping with the fantasy setting. Right? This is just a push wheelchair. It's not even a powered wheelchair. It's not even what if I had a giant robo buddy like a golem to carry me to school?
I was going to say, couldn't you use magic or something like that to make it like float, to make the wheelchair float? Or
no, that's the thing. That's the thing. It does that, but it does that at level 1. All right. Let me paint you a picture.
Okay.
Let me paint you a picture here, Ayrton. You are a peasant. All right. You are 15 years old. And in a horrible accident, your legs were fucking smashed by an anvil. And you really, really wanted to be an adventurer.
Was this a Hanna-Barbera cartoon?
And now your life is over. Okay? And we are to believe that somewhere out of the mists, an artificer came to your little village and built you a floating wheelchair so that you too could be an adventurer. And it will make you mechanically superior to any other character of equivalent level not in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that seems retarded.
All of this gets to the core of the identitarian view on politics of authenticity. You can't have a white person writing a role for a black character because that white person isn't authentically black. You can't have a straight person playing a gay character, even though there have been numerous straight people who've done a really good job playing a gay character. Because these things aren't authentic. So it's all part of the thing. So for D&D, well, of course, you're in a wheelie, so you got to play a character who's in a wheelie. You can't say, hey, what if I had a companion animal that was like Master Blaster from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? Who runs Bartertown?
Master Blaster run Bartertown. And it's worse than that because we actually had an even more recent example from a period in time when people liked it before it went batshit insane. Season 1 Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. Bran gets pushed off the fucking tower, smashes his everything, right? Tyrion Lannister has a saddle made for him that will allow him to ride the horse. As a horseman, he would far exceed any other horseman with practice, right? In D&D, there's a cavalier class. You can play the super horseman. You can be a paladin with a magical steed. It doesn't matter how you get there. You can get the same effect without this ultra special, uber skiffy, I'm so important because I'm a cripple, look at me, wheelchair. And where my personal problem comes in, as a cripple, hi, how you doing? I want the challenge. Okay, if I go out adventuring and I smash my everything and my legs are fucked, yes, I will attempt to crawl hand over hand, arm over arm through the wilderness to get back to civilization. Leonardo DiCaprio, The Revenant style. Because if I succeed in it, I get the bragging rights. Right?
So
this wheelchair infantilizes the disabled people that it claims to service.
So let me tell you a funny story. So I'm playing a superhero game with my Saturday DM, Tom. And at this point in time in our gaming group, there was a guy in a wheelchair. And he was playing basically Green Lantern. And so his character was pulling into the scene in his car, and he opened up the door and knocked over one of the players who had one arm. And so one of the NPC cops going, "What's wrong with you? He's disabled. Why are you hurting the disabled people like that?" That became a recurring gag from his character. And when Tom said that to him, he paused for a moment and looked at Tom, and then Tom looked back into the wheelchair like, "Oh, sorry." And we all had a good laugh about it, and the gag continued. You see, that's the appropriate way to be differently abled and at the gaming table.
There's even a real-world example of this. Def Leppard is the greatest, hardest-working band no one listens to.
Oh, yeah, their drummer.
Yeah, their drummer was in a horrifying car accident and lost a fucking arm.
I thought it was a motorcycle accident.
No, it was a car accident.
Was it a car accident?
But
What
they
got in the
thought
motorcycle accident then.
I mean, lots of drunk rockers did lots of stupid things.
That's fair.
But they thought his career was freaking over. They thought the band was over. He built a drum kit for his disability and trained himself to use it so he could still drum.
Yeah, and it was fucking impressive too. If you've ever watched it,
I've watched the video for Let's Get Rocked.
Yeah,
they did amazing music after his accident.
Right. Which I feel like if you're a drummer and you're covering a Def Leppard song, you should have to only use one arm.
Yeah, no,
right?
You should totally have to tie an arm behind your back.
Right. No.
Just to make it fair.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's an entire subset of essentially disabled heroics, right? Now, sometimes it airs on the side of like Daredevil, where being disabled gives you superpowers, and that's stupid, but it's okay, right?
In the case of Daredevil, it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Sure, but I mean, you also get like ancient Asian master that's blind, but he can totally see because he's that good, right? The thing is that there is also a subset of disabled heroism, which is literally everything is against you, but you are still a badass, right? That's the same motif at play in things like Rocky Balboa or The Expendables, right? Where we old, but we're not spent yet, right? And like I said, that's where the offense is. This woman who is now virtue signaling how she's being oppressed and has to take her book down because Watsy, that did nothing to her, is taking away our opportunities to stand out. Because we shouldn't have to be traumatized by challenges. Bitch, we have challenges every day. Challenges come with the territory.
Yeah, a lot of rock and roll people have been in motorcycle accidents. I'm not sure who I was thinking of then.
I mean,
I actually was
I mean,
ironically
Ayrton-
watching Count's Customs, and Tommy Lee was in a motorcycle accident
I mean,
with a friend of his who got really effed up.
I mean, Ayrton, you suffer challenges. You're a white man who does blues.
So you know what's funny about that? Anytime
What?
I've been like in a proper blues club, like that's basically all black people and then maybe me and two other white guys,
Yeah,
it's never an issue. Like I get
Oh, it's
along with
not.
everybody in there.
it's not. But I still remember very clearly that interview where I want to say a very very old BB King who clearly needed his nap time was like, rock and roll is just stoned blues riffs, and it's like, what the fuck?
I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean, he's not, but he is.
See, but I think people read into that a bit too much because him and Eric Clapton were friends for like 40 years before BB King died.
Right.
So he didn't really mean anything by it. He was just saying like, yeah,
It's-
rock and roll was influenced heavily by
It's-
like blues riffs and like the groove and the
It's just
energy.
it's the same thing as jazz and big band, right?
Yeah.
Lots of people are like, jazz is insert ethnicity here, right? But then it's like, no, man, a bunch of city boy Jews up in New York love this stuff, and in Chicago, and they started doing it themselves.
Well, and
Nobody-
it depends on what
Nobody owns music, man.
and it depends on what kind of jazz you're talking about. Because like early original jazz was much more similar to what we think of like big band blues, like
Right.
like the Blues Brothers would be the one that everybody knows. Like that's kind of early jazz. It was upbeat, you would dance to it
Well-
and stuff. And yes, that was predominantly black, like kind of that Louisiana, like New Orleans style. But there's it branched off in so many different directions so very quickly. It's like it's not really like you can't it's hard to say like something is jazz these days because they kind of attribute it to like anything that's just kind of off musically that isn't in any particular category. You just kind of call it jazz
And it
at
even
this point.
and it even comes back around because remember CCR gave us swamp rock,
Right.
which is
And they're all-
basically bluegrass rock.
Well, and they're all from California. So they are CCR's from
mean-
California.
I didn't know.
So I mean
Then
that's-
again, I here's some content for this fucking show. I was in a conversation and I had to stop talking to these people because they're retarded. I don't mind interstate beefs. You know, people from Arkansas don't like people from Tennessee. You know,
everybody hates Ohio.
right? Exactly.
But Michigan did it first.
But there was this post about California, and it was an animated map showing the spread of Californians across state lines,
yeah,
and how they were negatively affecting voting. And all I said was, "Is like, look, man, they're American citizens. You can't tell them where to live. They're allowed to go where they want because they are." They're American citizens. They have the right to travel in their own fucking country, right? And the number of people who jumped in my face and were like, "No, they're fucking termites, and they don't deserve rights, and they should stay in their containment zone, and they're ruining this country." It's like, whoa, holy shit!
That's a little extreme. I'm a full believer in like this is gonna sound worse than what it is, but let me
Okay,
lay my point.
here we go.
And
is it racism time, Larry?
no, it's not. There's nothing. This is ideological. There's going to be no talk about race in this whatsoever. I'm a firm believer of living and building community with people who at least hold similar values to yourself.
Sure.
Like me and somebody who's a straight up Marxist communist, we can't actually build, like, we can be cordial, I can have a beer with them and like talk and stuff, but we couldn't build an actual like community with each other.
Your community doesn't get better if it has problems, if you don't collaborate, and collaboration means having shared ground. I get it.
So to that point, I agree that if you're leaving California because you don't like the things that are going on there and you move to another state and vote and push for the same policies that are the things that you don't like in California, you should fuck back off. But if you're leaving California and you want to be better and not do those things, then sure, like I'd welcome you in.
I mean, I get you. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, right, there are a lot of people in Cali who can't afford to live in Cali. There are a lot of poor people in Cali, right, who, even though they have voting power, their voting power is greatly diminished compared to the number of wealthy elites in their city-state who override them.
So, hold up. Did you guys talk about the Crowder situation before I got here?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I played the Babylon Bee video and gave Rune the quick rundown of it, and that's all I want to say.
Hold up. Did you talk about how Crowder literally stabbed Ben Shapiro in the back?
He stabbed Ben. Did I miss something?
Wait.
So
wait. When you say literally, do you mean like actual blood?
No. I mean literally, as in the literary metaphor way. So
okay.
When he got his first big break as a internet personality, Ben Shapiro negotiated his first employment contract for him. When Steven Crowder got deleted from YouTube, Ben Shapiro called Susan up personally and yelled at her. It made it go away. It made Crowder get back on YouTube. And so when he came to Steve and said, "Hey, buddy, why don't you come work for me?" And instead of just saying, "Nah, bro, but thanks for being my boy and having my back," and then he made a whole bunch of e-drama about it. And also, there's the deep lore aspect of the Steven Crowder situation.
Deep lore.
So Crowder has something called the Mug Club. So what the Mug Club is, he's got 350,000 people who pay him $10 a month.
Well,
because the Mug Club is not connected to Breitbart.
No, he actually didn't get to take all the people that subscribed to the Blaze under his Mug Club when he left. That went all through the Blaze. He doesn't actually have a new Mug Club set up.
But hold up here. So he had 350,000 people paying him money. So he can start his own rival to the Daily Wire. If he has a financier come in, that's easy for him to do. So what Ben Shapiro was trying to do is saying, "Hey, listen, let's get this guy to work for us for like 5 years. Because we're going through our big transition where we're trying to start to do movies and children's shows where we don't really have good quality control of our movies and children's show department. So that's going to be a business problem for us. So we're going to give him $50 million to come work for us." Now that $50 million also covers operating expenses. And Crowder then decided that 4 months after he had this offer made to him, he wanted to make it about ethics in games journalism. It's like, we need to make a different business model. So blah, 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 blah. So Crowder went to a guy who had been his friend, who had bailed him out and screwed him for e-drama to advertise the fact he's creating his own Steven Crowder streaming universe.
So, is anyone watching the show right now? Or are we just talking into the void?
Let me check Rumble. We got
Does
3
anyone
people
know?
on Rumble right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. People who are watching, if any of you are artists, I can't pay you. I just think this would be great. Go forth into the internet. Use AI. It'll be easy. Make a picture of Ben Shapiro as Julius Caesar being stabbed in the Senate, going "etu Crowder."
Larry, can you do that with the AI art thing you use?
I can. It'll take me a moment
Which is
to do
fair.
that.
Which is fair, but please, I need to see this.
So I have something that I have been fairly passionate about that happened on this week. One of my favorite book series that has a role-playing game that I'm actually more of a fan of the book series. I'm going to totally get.
Is there something you want me to pull up?
Yeah, it's going to be the thing that has Stephen Colbert on it.
Okay. Let me.
So it's the Chronicles of Amber, and it was announced this week that Stephen Colbert is coming on as an executive producer. But for our audience, the people, I'm here to give you the story that most of the news isn't giving you, and most of the online people aren't giving you.
Where the fuck is it? I know I saw it when I was. Anyways, keep going.
So Robert Kirkman has been trying to get this produced for like 7 years and has been unsuccessful. The most successful thing he did is he got it to be on the cover of a Ukrainian slot machine app for your cell phone, which is not altogether good. And he also has been able to get Reddit to try to promote the book series. The biggest problem is the book series hasn't been culturally relevant since 1990. And if you want to compare it to things like Dune or Lord of the Rings, they have a better resonance in the cultural zeitgeist. And if you're adapting things, you don't want to adapt something where like nobody's really involved in it. You want to adapt something that people know. Like, hey, I hear this George R.R. Martin guy's got this really cool book series where everything's gritty and dirty and all the people are terrible. People love watching everybody be terrible and gritty and dirty.
Oh, okay.
Let's make that into a show.
Is it the Reddit link?
No, the Reddit was a thing I did, but you can find the actual link to the story on the Reddit.
Oh, okay.
So Colbert has a first look deal with CBS, which means if he has something that's an actual viable pitch for a show, they have to take the meeting. They have to let him present it to them. They get the first bite of the apple. And there's some more technical aspects to that. So Kirkman brought Colbert on because he's getting them into Paramount Plus. So Rune,
okay, maybe somebody can find it on Reddit, but I don't know how
Give
to
me a
use the
second.
site.
Give me a second. I will bail you out.
I swear I saw the link when I was scrolling through grabbing stuff.
Oh, here we go. I actually got a better link.
Oh, okay.
From Variety. So anyway, if I were to ask you what streaming series are on Netflix that are high fantasy series set in like a sword and sorcery kind of fantasy, you could name me 2 or 3 on Netflix, right, Ayrton?
I couldn't name you anything on Netflix.
Rune? Can you like there's The Witcher.
I mean, they had
The Witcher's,
but they done fucked that up.
They screwed up The Witcher. What? They got like Viking shows. And they got all sorts of stuff. Amazon.
What's The Witcher Netflix?
It was Netflix, yeah.
Oh,
no, Witcher was Netflix.
Amazon had Rings of Power. And they also have Wheel of Time, and they screwed both of those up. They had the opportunity they had the opportunity for Conan, they screwed that up too. HBO Max has House of the Dragon and all of that George
And
R.
they
R.
screwed
Martin
up
stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, every streaming service except Paramount has something that's capable of producing a multi-season fantasy show. So long as all the money works and makes sense, this should be a no-brainer of this actually happening. Now, who's going to be responsible for actually writing the finer points of this stuff? I don't know. Kirkman's been involved. He's done The Living Walking Dead. He's done Invincible.
Should we get into the article a little bit?
No, because I've already said everything that's of value in the article.
I don't know. George R. Martin and I have similar dreams, Colbert said. I've carried the story of Corwin in my head for the last 40 years, and I'm thrilled to partner with Skybound and Vincent Newman to bring these worlds to life. All roads lead to Amber, and I'm happy to be walking them. That sounds like some PR team bullshit statement right there.
That actually makes sense, the thing. And also, the biggest thing normies know is this is George R. R. Martin's favorite fantasy book series. This inspired a lot of stuff in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
So this is a PR thing for normies, but Stephen Colbert's actually talked about his love of the series on a bunch of nerd podcasts.
Oh, okay.
So here's the problem with getting this series produced, though. It's all about the money.
Well, yeah.
So since this series doesn't have an army of fans, and we're not going to have all these people on Twitter show up who say, "Oh yeah, I've been a fan of this book series for like forever." That's not a thing that we're going to have happen. There's a lot less advocates for it.
Well,
so
on top of that, Larry, remember that Game of Thrones, Rings of Power, and Witcher's failure have basically burned the bridge on fantasy on TV for anything coming after.
You could make an argument against that when you're in the meeting with the network, but let me continue along here. So Colbert, the other producer,
and Willow. Let's not forget Willow.
I mean, I'm trying to. So Kirkman, Colbert, the other producer, the three of them can get some money together. There's some things they could do with tax incentives. There's some things they could do with distribution deals to make enough money to convince Paramount they want to kick in some money. But they're not going to be able to spend the money on stars because this is a high fantasy sword and sorcery thing. So you're going to need people who could do actual stage combat for a TV show. They're physically able of doing that. So you're going to hire a bunch of people in their mid-20s to mid-30s because the first book series would take about 5 seasons to adapt.
I can do some stage combat. I'm available. I'm looking for a job.
And this is also something that would make somebody into an actual movie and or TV star. It's kind of like that situation. Kind of like the situation with Stranger Things. How all those kids have now like blown up because they got on Stranger Things. It's that kind of an opportunity.
I just want to get paid to fight some people with a sword.
Okay. There's not going to be a lot of needed special effects until you get to the last 2 episodes. But there are a lot of scenes that are in like very colorful fantasy settings that you may have to green screen some stuff to get a realistic, castle look to work out.
I mean, Monty Python did it without green screens.
Well, yes, but they also did it by borrowing money from Pink Floyd.
Which isn't that a great story?
That's a great story because it was all about they're trying to avoid the British taxes.
Yeah.
The big problem that we already talked about with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time is art direction, and also Blood Origin for The Witcher, is if there's not a strong artistic vision for the show, it's not going to attract the fans of fantasy. If it has a dull, muted earth tone look, people are going to say, well, this is just unimaginative and derivative, and they're not going to turn on their TV or their streaming device. So you're going to need...
You mean if it looks like Rings of Power, they don't want it?
Exactly. Like,
so I'm curious.
Forget the scripting of Rings of Power. It just looks bad.
So I'm just curious. You know, I think we all are fans of like high fantasy for the most part, I would say. Don't you think at this point the entertainment market is a bit overflooded with this shit? Like are normies, like people who don't sit there and like spend hours like digging into like the entire legendarium of Tolkien and learning like the entire history of Middle Earth?
House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon has tons of people watching it.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure
Witcher even had tons of casual normies getting onto it because of Henry Cavill. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. It seems like that's a lot of just one genre for all of the streaming sites to be producing, like a genre that isn't like that popular with like outside of the nerd community.
Fantasy's popular outside the nerd community, but the problem is, again, you can have stuff like Willow, which isn't very good. Or that one that Netflix produced all about a princess who fought an entire castle full of enemies to save her family. You know, stuff that's just unimaginative and dull and not very good. It's like, who wants to see generic Marvel streaming TV show number 45? Now, Spider-Man No Way Home, you get to see Tobey Maguire but you can understand, Rune, why people wanted to see that. You know, the actors coming in, revisiting roles, bringing emotional resonance from the roles. Willem Dafoe doing all of his own stunts.
And it was actually pretty good, I would say.
I mean, that's something people want to see versus Marvel Comics Presents Race War with the underwater Mexicans versus the fantasy black people. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't know. It was hilarious to watch. I don't know if I'm still the only person that's watched it.
But that's the thing. There's room for science fiction genre product, for superhero genre product, for fantasy genre product. And if you have a streaming service, you need to have a little bit of everything. So
you are the person who watched it in America.
I meant on the show. On
the show.
I think I'm the only one who watched it out of the four of us.
And when this has gotten to the discussion, the fan forums and stuff for Chronicles of Amber, there are people who are like, you know, eagerly awaiting the coming of the toxic man babies that they can fight. And there are people concerned about, are they going to make the show woke because Colbert's involved? And you guys know me. We've talked about stuff on we've talked about stuff on this show before. So I'm a fan of this series, but it's a product of the late 60s to late 70s in sci-fi and fantasy. The female characters are underwritten. They're badly underwritten.
Okay. So hopefully my computer's going to stop being retarded here. I want to comment about this. Whether one likes Stephen Colbert or not, whether one thinks Stephen Colbert is a lefty loser or not, whatever one thinks about Colbert is a hyper nerd.
Yeah.
He is a geek on the same level as Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Okay. He gave a shit about Lord of the Rings. If he says he gives a shit about Chronicles of Amber, I believe it. He's not only is he not going to woke it up, he is the kind of person that will actively fight against woking it up because he would want to see it portrayed accurately.
See,
But
no, I
there's-
didn't know that about him.
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to be fair, I didn't know he was a huge nerd.
Oh yeah,
He's
And
in
I'm just
The
saying-
Hobbit.
yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he has a cameo in The Hobbit as a fisherman in the town that Bard's from.
I
Uh,
okay. I
Much like
only
Seth MacFarlane had numerous cameos in the Star Trek.
okay. I only saw the first Hobbit and thought it was dog shit and didn't
He's
watch
in the
other
first. That's
two.
the one. He's in the first Hobbit.
He's in the first one. You said
Yeah.
the town that Bard's from. Isn't that?
Yep,
Yeah,
they get to that in the first Hobbit.
Do they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But that's neither
I
here nor
don't-
there.
Anyways,
It doesn't matter because you wouldn't recognize him. But no, I saw the interview. Okay, somebody came on the Colbert Report claiming to be a
Tolkien expert.
nut, and Stephen Colbert, giddy as a school child, sat down across from him. Was like, okay, quiz me, let's go.
Nerd fight.
Yeah, because he is a hyper nerd for his fantasy fiction. He is ridiculously into it.
But a rule of thumb for adaptions is 1 page of the source material / script equals 1 minute of content. The
Right.
first book is 170 pages. And while you could combine the first 2 books into a season, it would be a pacing problem. It would be a
sounds
huge
like-
pacing
it-
problem.
It sounds like it would be better as like a series of miniseries, like made for TV movie style structure.
It could, yes. But the aspects that fans of today of the work talk about is that the women were underwritten. And there are lots of very interesting female characters who don't get a lot to do. There's also a badass female warrior woman who gets dwarfed because you got to have somebody be the badass warrior to show they're a serious threat. So that's something
Right.
realistically.
Somebody's going to get dwarfed.
Yeah, so realistically, you can add some content without spoiling the whole thing. And there is one part that if Stephen Colbert gets this made, I will be gravely disappointed in him that he doesn't take. So the author of the book inserted himself as a character in the book, writing a story that, the way he describes it, loosely sounds like the story of the book. That he's a prison guard where one of the main characters gets imprisoned and he sees him in a couple of other places. So obviously, if I were Stephen Colbert, I'd say I'm playing this part when we adapt the show.
I mean, hell, I'm going to talk about one of your favorite people, Larry. Part of the reason we can't have a Dark Tower that's worth a damn is because Stephen King is in the Dark Tower.
Well, the problem's also the rights issues.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you can't do that book series justice, and they would have to be a series. If you don't include the elements that Stephen King put in it. For instance, I'm sorry, I know everyone likes Idris Elba, but the gunslinger is Clint Eastwood. Always was always supposed to be. It was
And more
written for
importantly,
him.
there's a character who's racist against black people. So
Right.
you kind of can't make the gunslinger be a black person. It throws off that entire character's saga.
And then, as I said, Stephen King wrote himself into the Gunslinger series. He appears as him.
Of course he does.
Well, Larry and I recently had a conversation that I bowed out of rather than persist on because we differ on
I
the
saw.
subject of Stephen King.
I saw it.
We were talking about different things. I don't want to get into it again. I wish not to discuss it. But
I don't talk a lot in the Twitter DMs, but I usually at least semi see what's going on. I don't
So-
always read it either because
you're literally the Colbert meme where we were wearing the 3D glasses and just eating popcorn.
Well, like I said, I don't always read it. I'll just be like, I'll pull up Twitter, be like, oh, DMs. Half the time it's Larry just sending a link for the next weekend, and the other half is you and Larry arguing about something, and I'll see like Stephen King
Well, I mean, that's
or
the thing.
something, and then I
Rarely-
just
Rarely
ignore
it's
it.
me. Rarely it's me bringing something to the table.
Oh yeah,
I brought a subject to the show today.
you
Mhm.
did, and
While
I
back.
enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, the
So, do we want to talk about Hulk
because
Hogan
this is
possibly?
the gospel of comics. We have the batshit from Ethan Van Sciver. I'm still trying to understand.
Well,
Oh yeah,
so,
there's that one.
So actually, I finally finished a couple weeks ago, but then I was gone for a couple shows. A project I had been working on since was it September when I was in Florida?
Yeah.
And we talked about James Bond.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch through the entire Bond series.
Nice.
And I had finally finished it. And I had a few thoughts on that. I don't know how far have the two of you watched like into it? Like
You mean all of it?
yeah, have you gotten through all? Did you watch all the way through No Time to Die, or
I've
or
watched all of it.
I have
Okay.
not.
How far did you how far have you seen, I guess, in the 50 some odd years?
Eclectic is the answer. I've seen bits and pieces in different places.
Okay. Well, because like a buddy of mine, he's only really seen Pierce Brosnan, and then I think like the first two Daniel Craig movies.
Well, no.
So-
I've seen Sean Connery. I've seen the actual Bond.
Okay, so I've been seeing. I think I saw it. What was it? 2 weeks ago, people were talking about who the next Bond's going to be and stuff like that. And I had seen stuff. I actually hadn't seen Spectre until I did this, and I'm definitely right about what I said. How each Bond is kind of an era of their time.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of negative things about Spectre and No Time to Die. I actually really like them quite a bit.
I think Spectre and No Time to Die both had
some interesting ideas. My big problem with No Time to Die is they screwed up the Hercules metaphor.
That's fair.
Well, I have an interesting factoid for you you nerds tonight. Adam West was based as fuck. Adam West had the opportunity in '69 to be James Bond. He could have been in On Her Majesty's Service.
On Her Majesty's
And
Secret Service, which was a TV movie at the time.
Yes.
And decided not to do it because he felt that a English Bond would be better. He actively said, I could do it, but I'm an American and it's not right. James Bond is not American.
Right.
So speaking of James Bond, have you heard the rumor about who the leading contender for being James Bond is?
I saw his name, but I forgot.
I mean, have they
who
stopped
it was.
pushing Idris Elba?
No, they got somebody better. Do you remember watching a little movie called Kick-Ass?
No, because I hate that movie. Because I hate that.
Do you remember watching a little movie called Avengers: Age of Ultron?
Yes, that I did happen to watch.
Do you remember watching a movie called Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Are you gonna say Chris Hemsworth or
No.
Captain America?
No, Aaron Taylor Thomas, the guy who played Pietro in said movies and also played the titular Kick-Ass.
Nah. I haven't seen him in enough things where he actually has speaking roles to know.
And he is also cast to play Kraven in the soon-to-be shitty Kraven movie.
That's not an encouragement.
But apparently he has impressed the Broccolis so much that they filmed a opening credit sequence for him as Bond
I'd
to look
I'd
at.
be okay. I'd be interested in seeing this, but so I'm also curious though, uh, Larry, what did you think of Spectre and No Time to Die? Because I rewatched it. I rewatched all of those like back to back. Like I
I
watched
think
everything in order.
Spectre is the weakest of the Daniel Craig movies,
Really?
and it's weakest because there was a sort of ethos they had that they were going to sort of be like, this is the prequel, and they were going to set up James Bond stuff, and they kind of hinted at that in Skyfall, and then in Spectre they went into this whole plot with the girl, and none of it was really interesting and compelling. Nor was their choice of Blofeld. He was the wrong kind of Blofeld for Craig's Bond.
I'll give you that. And I
even
thought
though the actor's great.
The actor's great, but
Yeah.
the intermix of the two characters didn't work.
Yeah, they didn't play off of each other well, and I thought the whole like Blofeld and Bond being like foster brothers, is that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
I mean, it's a little better than the constant reminders that Daniel Craig's Bond is bi.
Well,
Well,
no.
That's
No,
the
across,
thing that Daniel Craig wants to promote in social media.
I know, but across two movies with Mads Mikkelsen and with that other guy, they had these overtones that they kept putting in, suggesting that Bond's villains kind of want to fuck him, and it's like, why? He ain't that good looking.
Because Bond had been doing the female villains, so he needs to be an equal opportunity sexer up.
Here's the thing.
See, actually, when Skyfall came out, and there was that whole controversy about that, and I saw the movie, and so in the scene, I can't remember the villain's name. Do you remember?
I don't remember his
Skyfall.
Name. Okay, so he has Bond, like he's captured him and has him all tied up, and he's like grabbing Bond on his thighs and stuff and making suggestive remarks, and Bond says like, "Oh, it wouldn't be my first time." So that was it.
That comes off as like British sarcasm.
It comes off as one, sarcasm, and two, like Bond is like he's supposed to be an uber nationalist. That's how Ian Fleming wrote him.
Mm-hmm.
Back when
also, a lot of the elite British prep schools have some homoerotic subtext into them.
Yes, there's also that. But so you see this going back to GoldenEye, actually, where Bond will pretty much do anything for Queen and country. That's kind of his ethos. So obviously, if he's a spy and he's trying to get information or do whatever, and if he has to have sex with the dude to get the gain that he needs to get, he's going to do it. That's how I always read that interaction.
That's the thing is, I know that there are people that are being confused, be like, but Bond, but no, absolute secret. I don't give a shit who James Bond fucks. The romantic parts of James Bond, unless he's specifically flirting with Moneypenny, are irrelevant.
Which is great. Those are always the best parts of every movie.
They really are.
Moneypenny.
But ultimately, whatever 2-bit femme fatale floozy that he's making eyes at is irrelevant, because I'm here to watch Bond be awesome and shoot bad guys. I want to see Bond in danger.
But for some people, banging random strange foreign chicks is part of making Bond awesome.
Which I think, like I said before, that wasn't actually as prevalent as people think it was.
Not in the books, no.
Well, not even really that much in the movies, because every single Bond chick played a significant role in every single movie.
I mean, Pierce Brosnan had like an extra girl who was like in the intro sequence normally.
Right.
Here's the thing.
I didn't say it didn't happen, but
Well,
like
here's
the
the-
quote unquote Bond girls
here's
always
the
played a
thing.
significant role in the stories.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, because you guys keep bringing up Pierce Brosnan. This is not me shit talking Pierce Brosnan, even
That's
though I
only
didn't particularly like his Bond either.
That's only because
Let
he's
me-
my Bond, because
let me-
I was at that age when he
Let
was.
me finish. Here's the thing: between Brosnan's first film, right, and the last Bond film, there was a sizable fucking gap.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, and as you say, people kind of built up the idea of a Bond girl, right? I mean, it had been around forever, but people had really built it up that it's like you have to have a Bond girl in a Bond movie, right? I think a lot of people are confused because they think that the Bond chick from the first Brosnan film who kills people with her cooch is
I mean, she's
standard
not-
operating procedure.
She's not the only one. She's not the only one. It's
Yeah,
actually
but
the
I'm
Russian
just saying-
hacker girl is
Yes,
is
but-
the Bond girl for that.
I'm just saying though, I think people assume that that's standard operating procedure, and then they look at things like the very tongue-in-cheek Octopussy and assume that this is proof in media, and it's like, no, not all Bond movies are equal. Some are much worse.
Oh yeah,
And that particular character is fucking weird because I get it. I get that she's killing people with her thighs, but at the same time, it's dumb.
well, she's also like orgasming while she's killing people.
Yeah.
Right.
What did
But,
you say?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's dumb. I know why it's there.
Oh, it's
but
ridiculous,
but
but it's
not-
hilarious.
It's not standard procedure for a Bond film.
Mhm.
Oh no,
Right.
not at all. But that's
Although, what was the one with the girl with the oil in the Pierce Brosnan one? Was that
girl
one?
with the girl with the oil.
Yeah, the girl who's the oil heiress.
Oh, shit. That's was that the one that's before Tomorrow Never Dies?
I think it was either just before or just after.
Okay.
Her being a surprise villain
yeah,
was,
so
was
so it's-
enjoyable.
Well,
Yeah, so it's GoldenEye something, Tomorrow Never Dies, and then the one after that. I can never
It's the
remember
one-
the
it's-
names.
It's the one.
Well-
It's the one before Tomorrow Never Dies. Then.
Okay.
Well, the other problem, going back to what Larry was talking about with authenticity, is the numbskulls who have a onus to be pissed off about something, right? Turn their eyes to Bond and they go sexist, racist, misogynist, homophobe, right? And
Yeah.
they ignore it. It's like, well, yes, there are some unpleasant elements of Bond, but I'm sorry, Dr. No was made in the 60s.
So
Right?
well,
I
there's
mean,
also
look.
well, hold on. So
Doctor No is not the most offensive racial James Bond.
No,
movie.
no, it's not.
No,
What I'm
not at
saying
all.
is that if you're
Well,
going off of
kind of
Bond, you
is.
have to. What I'm saying though is that you have to judge Bond by the era of Bond that it is made in, because different eras of Bond are going to have different aesthetics.
well,
I
and
mean,
that's
the
that's
most
something.
racist one in the Roger Moore era was James Bond versus Voodoo.
Oh, you mean Live and
that's-
Let Die, which has the best
Yeah.
opening?
Which
It
actually, actually, Live and Let Die, I think, is less racist than Doctor No, as far as the
I
portrayal
mean-
of black people
Wait a
at the
minute.
time.
Wait a minute, Ayrton, is this racism time?
It
Are we
might
talking
be.
about racist Bond?
I'll put it.
We are.
I'll put it up. But
So-
okay, so hear me out, Larry. So Doctor No is, for those who haven't seen it, is based almost entirely in Jamaica. And
Live and Let Die is almost based entirely in Jamaica.
what? Oh no, is it Cuba? That's Dr.
It's
No?
essentially Jamaica. No, Doctor No is in Asia.
No, it's not.
To the internet.
Yeah. No, it
Anyway.
is.
Anyways, so the majority of
Oh,
black.
no. Hold up. You're right. Doctor No was in Jamaica because
Okay.
that's the one that
Yeah.
he made the basically the reboot version of. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Doctor No is
Dr. No is a Japanese scientist operating in Jamaica. That's the
Right.
source of the problem.
so, and the one main quote unquote black character in Dr. No is portrayed as a drunk fisherman that has no idea what he's talking about and
Yeah,
sees
no,
a
no,
dragon.
that is not the
So,
most racist thing in
hold-
the Sean Connery era at all.
Well, I'm just comparing that to Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die portrays the black people as very cunning and ruthless and are constantly outsmarting Bond because he's out of his element.
Yeah, but they also have the black people running dope in Harlem and also being involved in voodoo and running a country.
Which, that they were kind of doing in the 80s.
So if you click on that link from the Japan Times, I just posted in the side chat there.
Okay.
This is the most racist portrayal from the Sean Connery era, where Sean Connery's James Bond had to go through surgery to be made to look Japanese.
Yes.
If you could share that image for the people.
Let me get the photo.
I mean, I'm gonna have to consider the relative racism of this because I still remember William Shatner being surgically altered to look Romulan and looking very Asian. So,
I mean,
right,
that's
let's
less
zoom,
racist because the Romulans are kind of that. They also gave him.
A 6'3", so a 6'3" British man is playing your standard Japanese.
No. He was surgically altered to look like that, and they put buck teeth into him.
Yeah.
As you do. And the Japanese intelligence agency were all ninjas.
Well, of course they were. It's Japan. What else are you going to do in the 60s?
So, I mean, that's really the most racist thing in that era.
I was mostly just because we started talking about it, I was going between Dr. No and Live and Let Die, and I think Dr. No is a way more negative portrayal of black people than Live and Let Die.
Which again has the greatest opening of any Bond movie.
It does.
That's very strong opening. Tomorrow Never Dies is also very strong. Bond opening too.
As far as like opening songs, for me, it's between Skyfall and Live and Let Die. Those are probably my two favorites.
Skyfall's good too.
It's fucking great. But so I do kind of want to finish my breakdown. So as far as Daniel Craig goes, I think the biggest problem that people don't realize necessarily they have with it is the people writing the Daniel Craig movies tried to follow the books for the first little bit and then tried to make a continuous story, which doesn't necessarily work with Bond. That's not how he was written. They were kind of like Sherlock Holmes. That's kind of the writing style of the British back then. You kind of just wrote stories with this character. There wasn't like a timeline per se. But I will say the way they started it with Casino Royale, which is incredibly close to the book, which is the first James Bond book that was written. Like to the point of him being captured and being tortured by being smacked in the balls with a rope tied into a knot. Like that's in the books. for people who don't know.
And that's probably something Ian Fleming experienced or had agents who are working for him experience.
Exactly. And so in that movie, I'm sure, spoiler alert, I guess, for a 20-year-old movie or 13-year-old movie, whatever.
Well,
he falls in love with the girl. He's a new 00 agent. He isn't like the Connery Bond who's been doing this for a while. She betrays him supposedly and dies. He goes into a downward spiral. A bunch of stuff happens in Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. In Spectre, he meets another girl. They have to fight essentially the Illuminati, which in my brain I was just picturing if Alex Jones was a secret agent fighting like the WEF, and Blofeld was George Soros. In my head, that's what I was picturing. Maybe that's why I liked it. and there was some cool stuff to it. I still think Quantum of Solace was more boring than Spectre. And then to culminate in No Time to Die, where he's essentially been fired and then they have to bring him back because he's essentially knows the most about Spectre and is the only one who can stop them. And go to find out the girl from Spectre now has a daughter who gets kidnapped, and he has to, it humanizes him. He has to save her from Spectre. And I don't know, there was a lot of humanizing scenes, even though the new 007, which people are mad about, because 007 is just, that's just
my problem with the new 007 that was in there was it was a bait and switch.
It was, and she was annoying as fuck. She was so bad. I every time she opened her mouth, it was annoying, but it wasn't as bad as people said.
Is her appearance of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
She was in that?
She played Captain Marvel in that.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. That's right. She is Monica Rambeau. Anyway, she's a terrible actress. And
I mean, she's not Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel. She was Monica Rambeau in the multiverse.
Right.
Yes,
that was totally a bait and switch to build outrage, to get hate clicks and stuff on everything and get people to hate watch. But overall, the way they actually did it, with him doing this last thing for even they had a contentious relationship, but you could tell they were also kind of close. Like, she was one of the only people that he could trust. Losing Felix early on in the story, like having to actually go against the British government, which again, his character is very for Queen and country, like that's what it is. And then ultimately him doing this thing again, spoiler alert, I guess, for a 4-year-old movie, him essentially giving himself up to the sacrifice so his daughter and this woman could escape. I thought it was a very good send-off.
Well, no, that's not what his sacrifice. That wasn't what was going on. He was given a poison so he couldn't have human contact ever. Any human he touched would die.
Yeah, but I mean, he did tell them to, like, send the planes in to bomb the place while he was still there. Yeah. While they were telling him, like, there's still time to leave or whatever. Like, there was more to it than that. But as far as a modern day Bond, right, talking in the last 12 years or whatever, I thought it was a good send-off and a good way to end that chapter of Daniel Craig, to start off with somebody new. If you take,
they should have ended it after Skyfall.
They should have. But
Skyfall was the last point in which they had anything that they understood what to do with Craig as a character.
Yeah.
And Skyfall had a perfect ending because it was a good use of a deconstruction of a character.
It was.
They deconstructed the character and they put it back together at the end of the movie.
But when you take all 5 movies like back to back, it does tell a fairly complete story. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it's a good send off to move on.
I mean, I'd rather have had Timothy Dalton get 5 James Bond movies.
Which, by the way, so Larry, do you know at the beginning of the Living Daylights, that weird ass sniper rifle that he uses?
Uh-huh.
So that's a Walther W2000, which was a prototype sniper rifle that they were prototyping for the German military. They made, like, I don't know, less than 200 of them. There's actually a company making a build kit that you can build that Walther W2000 out of an AR-15 base. It's so cool. I want to get one of those kits so bad.
So, did you guys watch that video about Hulk Hogan potentially becoming a Scientologist?
I did not.
I give 0 fucks.
I don't. I give at least 4.
So, Hulk Hogan is dating a second-generation Scientologist in Clearwater. And he was at a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game hanging out with senior celebrities in Scientology. And people are wondering if Hulk Hogan is going to hail Zimu, brother. And if the Church of Scientology is building their blackmail file on Hulk Hogan as we speak. So that one was less of a winner than I thought it would be. If Church were here, Church would have been interested in that.
I was just over here thumbing through the Wikipedia while you guys are rambling. Considering my favorite non-Bond modern Bond film. Because I'm that kind of weirdo that I like 24.
Well, I mean, XXX was a pretty good Bond film.
Well, specifically, I'm referring to season 9 of 24 back in 2014. It's called 24 Live Another Day, and they specifically chose that name as a loving homage to James Bond films. Because Kiefer Sutherland likes James Bond. So Jack Bauer is the American Bond, which I think is actually a better choice than
Vin Diesel or Jason Bourne?
No, I was gonna say Jason Bourne. I think I'd rather have Kiefer Sutherland saving the day than Jason Bourne. The first Bourne movie was okay, and they go downhill fucking fast. I was never a fan of XXX. And remember, they swapped out Vin Diesel for Ice Cube because reasons.
No,
well, it was because Vin Diesel didn't want to do it at the time.
No,
right.
What about John Wick?
I don't give a shit about John Wick.
John Wick's not a spy. He's a criminal.
Well, he's an assassin.
And I honestly don't care.
Dude, they're fucking great movies. I'm so excited for the 4th one.
They are films that are engines for... crap, his name's out of the back of my head. The actor.
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, they're engines for Keanu Reeves to be in cool action scenes. Their plot doesn't matter. The storytelling is not there. It's not relevant. Nobody gives a shit. It is.
I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated
Ayrton?
by the plot.
Ayrton?
What?
They were shooting each other with silenced pistols under their jackets in a crowded mall.
Yes. Okay.
Less than 5 feet away from each other.
Okay.
And nobody noticed.
Okay, that scene is ridiculous. I will give you that. But having a secret society of assassins that live by like a weird like rogues.
Yeah, we all saw Wanted.
That's, I don't know. It's fascinating.
Well,
to me. And
personally, I think they should have done a stronger adaptation of Wanted from the comic book myself.
And Rune, being a firearms enthusiast, the actual gunplay is extremely fun to watch because he's trained by literally one of the top competition 3-gun shooters in the country.
Look, the only thing that matters is they're not doing gun fu, thank God.
Exactly. It's much more realistic. As far as Hollywood
Jesus
goes.
Christ, if we want to talk about things that I hate, I fucking hate Equilibrium.
What, you don't want to take pills to take away all your emotions?
I don't like a smash up of 2 very good books done badly with Patrick Bateman being a sociopath yet again, so that they can do wire fu gun mechanic combat, so that dipshits in my role-playing games can make as many Grammaton Cleric knockoff characters as they can try to squeeze into my game, and then proceed to drive my game into the ground because they can't fucking roleplay.
So,
Oof.
Rune, next time we do a role-playing game, I'm gonna make some sort of like James Bond, John Wick hybrid just to annoy you, right?
So
Oh no, that'll be fine. We can do that. You want to play some Dark Heresy? I will let you play James Bond in the 41st millennium.
Okay.
that's easy. So
Wait.
so Ayrton, I think we need to play a little musical interlude for our next story.
Okay, hold on. There's a fucking ad. Give me a
Here we
sec.
go.
I love a good Marty Robbins meme.
Memes.
We did touch on that at the beginning of the show while we were figuring out what was going
is
on
this the
with
end
you.
of racism time, or is this the continuation of racism time?
Nope, it's not.
Oh, it's probably
but,
the end. Oh, it's not the end. All right.
To the town of
Santa Fe, New Mexico, Alec Baldwin.
one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip.
Alec Baldwin.
There among them had a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. There was 40 feet between them when they stopped to make their play. And the swiftness of
Alec Baldwin.
is still talked about today.
42-year-old director of photography, Helena Hutchins. 48-year-old director, Joel Souza.
Did not clear leather for a bullet fairly ripped. And
Alec Baldwin.
his aim was deadly with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. It was over in a moment and the folks had gathered round. There before them lay the body of
42-year-old director of photography, Helena Hutchins. 48-year-old director, Joel Souza.
on the ground. Oh, he might have went on living, but he made one fatal slip when he tried to match
Alec Baldwin.
with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. Big iron, big iron.
So yeah,
When he tried
Alec
to match
Baldwin
Alec
has been
Baldwin.
charged with involuntary manslaughter, which
we actually already talked about it, but that was a good segue.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna go jerk off to that song when we're done with this
Oh,
show. That is so good.
I actually think the 40K spoof is better, but the Alec Baldwin one is topical and therefore acceptable.
That is
Also,
so good.
we don't need to laugh at Alec Baldwin brutally murdering a woman, but it's just really funny in the context of that parody.
That is so good.
Oh, yeah.
How long were you sleeping on that you didn't show that to me?
Oh no,
So
I showed that to you when the story first broke about Alec Baldwin accidentally shooting this woman.
Did you?
Yep.
I had
Oh,
in fact
shit.
seen it before. It's just still funny.
Oh, that's so good.
Did you guys talk about the penis in Boston?
We did not. We hadn't got to that yet.
So let's do that. So there was this statue that the political extremists
Yes.
wanted removed of
Let's
a
please
black
stop.
man
Let's please talk about this.
kissing Abraham Lincoln's feet for freeing him from slavery. A
Which-
statue that freed slaves paid
Which,
to get built, by the way.
fuck Abraham Lincoln. I'm just gonna say that now. Anyways,
Been watching
so-
Razor Fist, have we?
no,
So,
I've always hated Lincoln. I did watch
Libertarians have
but-
issues with him.
He
so
was
it's
an,
been
he was
replaced.
an authoritarian and issued martial law, increased taxes, did all this scummy shit. Didn't actually want to free black people and give them rights. Wanted to ship them back to Africa. He was a piece of shit. Fuck that.
But yeah,
guy.
this statue
Anyway.
was paid for by freed slaves, and it's been replaced with this.
Hold on.
But,
Okay, there we go.
So
to
that
a
is a
giant
statue,
turd.
or penis.
It looks.
So
I don't see the penis part. It looks like he's holding up a turd, like the monkey holding up Simba.
well, that's actually the hands of Coretta Scott King holding the arms of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah, it
So-
still looks like he's presenting a turd, like to God.
Yeah.
Like Jesus,
So-
look what came out of my ass. Are you sure? Are you sure I'm not gay?
So the artist, for some reason, chose to remove the physical presence of the two people he was honoring from this piece of public art. That
Well, to
many
make
people
it
say it looks like a
universal,
turd.
It's all people now. Don't you understand?
Now, can we talk about modern art and how we need to stop funding this goddamn bullshit?
It's mostly terrible.
It's so terrible. And
I mean, it makes me want to go commit suicide from the egg.
and this is coming from somebody who lived in Chicago. You know, the bean is there, a giant chrome blob, which is kind of fun. You know, it's kind of cool to go look at, take stupid selfies with your reflection all fucked up, but it's stupid. Why did we pay for that?
Well,
It's a giant chrome blob. Why is this being paid?
That's why I was referring to the egg. Do you not know the egg?
What? I might.
Okay, so in New York, there is a live art installation that you can't actually access anymore.
Yeah,
which is
I
all
know
made
what
of
you're talking about.
it's all made of stairs and platforms.
Yeah.
Right? And it's supposed to be about all kinds of high-end, high-brain shit, but people started committing suicide off of it.
But
I've actually went on that art installation.
So the bean is in,
and you survived, Larry.
Well, I mean, I chose not to kill myself.
So the bean's in. Is it Millennium Park? Is that where the bean's?
Yeah, I think that's where it's at.
You chose. That means you thought about it.
So the bean's in Millennium Park in Chicago, and I don't. Have either of you been to Chicago?
I have, unfortunately.
Okay. So like the gorgeous fountain that's in Millennium Park, the huge amphitheater, and I forget what they call it, the water towers, the projector water towers.
Yeah.
There's so many cool things in that park, and everybody goes to the goddamn fucking bean. Like, what the fuck? Ooh,
Look,
here we go.
own-
Here's a fantastic. Hold on, let me.
My only opinion on this subject is that eventually, at some point, because art goes in a cyclical fashion, avant-garde will give way to classicism again, and we will just have depictions of the human form. It'll happen.
Rune, would you rather go see this
Okay.
at dusk or go see this goddamn monstrosity? Which again is fun. It's fun to go take pictures and selfies and crawl underneath it and shit. But when you look at the two as far as like skill goes, this fountain is 1,000 times. Where'd the fucking fountain go? Well, anyways, that fountain is 1,000 times cooler. They have this. You can go play in the water here. They project different faces up on there, and they spit water.
So here's the thing.
Millennium Park is fucking cool.
Here's the thing. I am not one for sightseeing. So if you ask me honestly, would you want to go see this? Like, no. However,
I said this or that.
However,
and here's the amphitheater, by the way. I saw so many cool shows. I saw so many cool shows.
Given
Since
the
it's an
choice
amphitheater,
of things,
well, hold on. Since it's an amphitheater, you can just kind of stand over here and not pay the $15 to go in, and still hear the music.
But that's the thing. Is that given
awesome.
the choice of objects, okay, I've seen a photo of the bean now. I've seen it as much as I need to see it. I am absolutely not of an interest to go see it personally ever in my life. But I could absolutely imagine a scenario where with friends or a woman or a significant other of some sort, I would want to at least walk by that fountain and go, isn't that nice? I can see that. That's
Right.
okay. The
Or
bean
take
is
a date to that amphitheater.
right. The bean is it's a potato covered in tin foil. I don't care.
Right. So here's the whole park if you're looking at it from
Space.
so right here, can you see the cursor?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see the cursor.
Okay. So this is Michigan Avenue. You typically cross over here, you walk this way, everybody goes to the bean. This is essentially the park. Now, if you go this way past the amphitheater and you actually cross Lakeview Drive and you kind of go over here, that's Lake Michigan. Over there is so gorgeous. It's so nice. Like it's quiet, it's peaceful. They have a whole bike path going up to there.
Ayrton, you've got to think about this in a way that recontextualizes it as a positive. If all the dumb fucks are going to the bean, they're not messing up your lake.
Right. And then here's another overview. They have this tunnel near the amphitheater that goes over to here. Like
so in
this
fact,
this
it's not a bean, it's flypaper.
more or less. So this area of the park is fantastic. Like, yeah, it's Chicago. There's a lot of people, but not nearly as many people that are like over here at the bean or at the projector water tower, whatever the fuck they call it.
The best description I ever read for Chicago was in a Punisher comic book. Okay.
All right.
Cities are either big or wide. So like LA is wide. Yeah, there's some tall buildings towards city center, but it's just a vast swath of short brown buildings. Right? Or cities are tall. New York is tall. Right? New York is towering. Chicago is both big and wide. Because it just has the infinite space to grow and to ascend.
No.
And ruin places like Gary, Indiana.
Now, here's Grant Park. This was where I used to hang out. So this is a little bit south. Yeah, south of Millennium Park. It's a lot more.
Wait, that's Rampart?
This is Grant Park.
Okay, Grant. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My brain instantly jumped to Pelham 1, 2, 3. I'm like, wait a minute. Where's my urban war zone?
Yeah. So I went to school like kind of like up over here in this kind of area. So in between classes or whatever, I would come down into Grant Park, kind of over here, sit under a tree, play my guitar or my sitar or whatever, and maybe walk over to the lake, kind of like hang out over here. This is surprisingly quiet and peaceful as far as a city goes. At like 4:00 in the afternoon, sure, you have all the traffic on Lakeview Drive over here in Michigan Avenue, but if you're like here in the park area, it's weirdly like quiet and peaceful. I don't know. This was a cool part of the city. Grant Park, definitely, I would suggest checking that out. And again, they have another bullshit fountain, but whatever. There's fountains everywhere. But this, yeah, definitely cool part of the city. I think it's like Michigan Avenue and is this Baldwin?
I think so.
Baldwin Drives, I think, right here.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Chicago Tourism Board.
It is.
So, Ayrton, I have an idea for musical bumper once we cover the story, which we're going to save this story about Justin Roiland for later.
Okay.
Could you possibly make a sitar cover of Smack My Bitch Up?
My sitar is currently being worked on. So
how about a blues cover of Smack My Bitch Up? Because doesn't that sound like a blues song anyway?
Yeah, couldn't we just listen to Richard Cheese version of Smack My Bitch Up?
I mean, right now I'm working on a cover of Hurt, but
I mean that's nice.
What kind of blues are we making?
Backlog of shit.
Yeah, but what kind of blues song is Hurt going to be when you're doing your cover?
Well, so it's more just like a general finger picking folk arrangement with some like blues licks thrown in.
Right on.
Because
But
so I've transitioned to like, you know, finger picking like instrumental solo arrangements with like that have bluesy elements because that's just how I play. I can't help it.
With that in mind, Ayrton, you I saw the post you made where you claimed that Hurt was better than the Nine Inch Nails song that preceded it. But
Johnny
here's the
Cash.
thing.
Johnny Cash
Here's
is
the
so
thing.
much better than Nine Inch
but
Nails.
here's the thing. Trent Reznor agrees with you, and he's the one who fucking made it.
Yeah.
Not only that, what's her face from the Eurythmics, I believe, even said that she thought that Sweet Dreams cover by Manson was actually better.
I mean, she's allowed to be wrong.
Dude, even so, Bob Dylan thought Jimi Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower is better than his. And he actually played, every time he's played All Along the Watchtower since then, has been Jimi Hendrix's version of it.
Yeah, but here we go. Okay, fucking War of the Genres now. Okay? Whose version of Knocking on Heaven's Door is the good one?
Eric Clapton, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keeping in mind that I agree with you.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses
no,
or Bon Jovi?
Guns N' Roses is bullshit. Slash is way overrated. If I have to pick between Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi, I'm picking Bon Jovi. Right. But as far as versions of the song go, Eric Clapton's is the best.
All right. So modifiers to your opinion on my end, because I agree with you. Okay. The problem with Knocking on Heaven's Door from Guns N' Roses is not Slash. All right, Slash overrated? Yes.
It's Axl Rose's vocals are terrible in that track.
Slash is actually like a chill dude.
He is. Okay? I'm not saying he's not actually, cool and I wouldn't hang out with him.
He's actually nice in a way that Van Halen is not.
Yeah, I don't like his guitar style. I think it's overrated. Sure. I think it's too flashy. There's no substance behind his playing.
But no, Axl Rose, even if he had singing talent at one time, is a garbage vocalist now. Okay, and I don't know what kind of fucking samba they were doing, but their Knocking on Heaven's Door is awful.
Oh, it's so bad.
So
my rendition of Knocking on Heaven's Door is better than theirs.
So I actually have to say the only cover of Guns N' Roses that I really liked was Sympathy for the Devil. I actually like that better than the Stones version.
That's not bad. I don't really like the Rolling Stones either.
Here's the thing. If you watch the interview with Slash, that is also the death of Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. Right there is the last song they ever recorded as an actual group. I grant you that the Stones are not great overall, but they have like 3 excellent songs, and then a lot of nothing,
which have all been done better as covers by other people. And hold on, since we talked about B.B. King and his comment about rock and roll and blues, all of their 3 like most popular song, like Satisfaction, whatever, those are all old blues songs they redid, just like Led Zeppelin's first album were all old blues songs that they redid.
And one of the biggest things that blew my mind was when somebody told me Ozzy Osbourne is just a blues singer. When somebody told me that, I'm like going, holy shit, that's right.
I mean Robert Plant. So a lot of people don't know this. Before Led Zeppelin was a thing, Robert Plant was a very, very popular blues singer over in the UK. And that's how Jimmy Page found him.
I mean, I am deeply conflicted as to whether Kashmir or Come With Me from the Godzilla soundtrack is the better version of Kashmir.
I didn't say all of their songs were blues songs. They're just their first album. Kashmir came out in Zeppelin.
No, I'm just saying. I'm conflicted between whether I prefer Zeppelin's Kashmir or Puffy.
So, which is fair. So Kashmir. Do you guys know the backstory behind that?
Oh,
I do not.
I do not. Although I do want to throw in there real quick because I brought up the Godzilla soundtrack. Peter Gabriel's "We Can Be Heroes" is amazing.
We're not wrong.
I'm gonna say I will let you finish the Kashmir, but once that's done, we should probably wrap it up.
Probably. So, Kashmir was so when they wrote that, I forgot what album. I forget which album it's off of, but they were on tour in America, and I forget which of the four flew back to London immediately. I'm pretty sure it was John Paul Jones and John Bonham flew back to England, and Robert Plant and Jimmy Page decided to fly over to India. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they fly over to India. They're hanging out. They meet some local Indian musicians who Indian music is vastly different than Western music, for those who don't know.
They say, hey, you guys want to smoke some hash and listen to us play?
So, Kashmir, if you want to play the song properly, you have to tune your guitar to Dadgad, which is you tune going low to high is D-A-D-G-A-D, which is essentially the same tuning as a sitar, just kind of flipped around a little bit. And Kashmir is also
it's the same but different.
Well, so a sitar actually has the super high strings on the top. There's two high strings, and then kind of like it's DG or DGA DG, depending on what kind of sitar you have. I think that's what it converts to when you take it out of the Indian terminology. So Jimmy Page tuned his guitar to that, and he wrote that song. So when you hear that song, you're actually hearing this weird, open, exotic tuning, and he wrote that around kind of hanging out over in India and trying to make his guitar sound like that exotic Eastern, like like weird sort of sound. It's really, really cool. If anybody's out there is into music history and learning about that kind of stuff, definitely look it out, or hit me up on Twitter and I can kind of give you the rundown of Indian music and kind of how it works.
And this has been the Gospel of Blues with your host, Ayrton McCartney.
Gospel of Blues? I just talked about Eastern music.
No, I'm just saying, like, for a show ostensibly about comics, we have not talked very much about comics at all.
We haven't talked about comics in like 6 months.
Well, hey!
I tried to bring up some stuff.
Hey, Ethan Van Sciver promised he's gonna have 2 comics coming out this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 1 come out this year.
I'm still
so
trying
here's the
to
question.
understand
Is the Ethan Van Sciver comic from 3 years ago going to come out before my comic?
So should we go a little bit late and talk about EVS?
No.
Yeah.
No. We
can set Church up for the hats because Church wanted to talk about the hats.
We should save that for Church because Church is going to have some
hat related stuff.
Church is going to want to get into that.
You're not wrong.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal the mic because people are always asking, hey, if we're closing up shop, does anyone have anything I want to talk about? Last thoughts. And I'm going to shill for what I'm working on because I'm working on a thing.
Oh, yeah. Give us a shill. Give us some links.
So, as you may recall, I was working on a thing for Morkborg. That is not canceled, but it's in mothballs because I'm still trying to figure out system. Right, but I have made the association of some people called the Red Room, what's the Red Room like? The Red Room is a indie RPG publisher that are like, look, being heroes is fun. There are lots of games for that, but sometimes you just want to be a piece of shit. So they have a game series colloquially referred to as the Wretched Verse, made up of a series of games, starting with a fantasy game called Wretched Bastards, followed by a game called Wretched West, followed by a game called Wretched Epoch, followed by Wretched New Flesh, Wretched Apocalypse, and Wretched Space. And their most recent game, I also forgot Wretchploitation, just in case you absolutely, totally need to go be a piece of shit in the 1970s.
Wait, is that like gay exploitation or black exploitation, like gay niggers from outer space?
Yes, it is a role-playing game where you can play a black exploitation character.
Oh, can we play that?
We'll see.
Okay.
There's actually an interesting game that had an alpha test. I'll talk to you guys after the show about. It's really cool.
Their most recent game line that they have put out just before this OGL stuff came up is called Wretched Darkness, and it's an urban fantasy setting for horror games in the modern day. And I was like, hey guys, can I work on an accessory? And they went, sure. And I said, can I just go crazy with it? And they were like, sure. And I gave them a preview. I said, something kind of like this. And they said, oh, we like this. This is totally in keeping. Can you do more? And I said, yes. So I am now working on a book for Wretched Darkness called The Red Ministries, which is about playing vampires in Wretched Darkness. In style, the Red Room is basically though it doesn't go as far as, say, Fatal, for anyone in the know who knows Fatal. They are very much in the realm of the games your mother warned you about that make other people concerned. Their most infamous adventure module is called Sexual Holocaust, and is about playing investigators tracking down Cenobites, called Apostles of Pain, because they're knockoff Cenobites. In the Red Ministries, your vampires have decided to eschew humanity, move to another dimension, where you can rule as keepers of sin, and they have diversified into 7 different social groups, each styled around one of the 7 deadly sins, to try and figure out what their purpose is. My personal favorite is the Ancient Master, who is the presiding elder, called a founder, of the Tempestuous District, which is the Wrath-aligned setting. The Ancient Master is basically Abdul-Jabbar Karim from Game of Death, and is living at the top of a tower waiting for someone to be ballsy enough to try and come and kill him so he can drink them, because he only feeds from the strongest people. Then you have fun ones like the Tower of Experience, where a group of vampire Batavistas sit in a circle and meditate and try to figure out just how evil they can really be. Because by immersing themselves in evil, they can become inured to it and then don't have to be evil anymore. Once you've done all the evil things, why would you ever do them again? I will read you the following quote from the Gluttony-aligned district from the Tower of Delectable Delights. Olive or vegetable oil for pan-searing or grilling, salt, pepper, other basic seasonings, 1/2 cup apple juice, 1/2 cup water, 1/4 cup brown sugar, 1/4 cup salt, 1 tablespoon soy sauce, 1 tablespoon Worcestershire sauce, 1 5-pound human child, also known as a Hammetville ham. Because at the Tower of Delectable Delights, a group of vampires decided that the purpose of their existence was to eat all the things that you can't eat.
On that, I feel like I should play the outro song Larry sent to us before the show. And if you guys want to keep going and talking, I'll switch us over to my channel for an after.
Well, just real quick before we spoof, since you are interested, in the Wretched verse, you can play a multitude of different races, not just vampires. And
do I need to put the racism time back up?
No. Although I believe they're changing their language to species to step away from WotC. But then there are a number of character classes, including
I heard that chuckle.
Is a serial killer. Just in case you ever wanted to be a serial killer. There's all kinds of magic. There's investigators, mesmerists, man of action.
Yeah. Motherfucker. What's up, nigga? Gangsta rap, nigga. Nigga. Nigga.
Good night, everybody.
Nigga. I'm 100% nigga.
I think that's good night, everybody, Baldwin, if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Why do police hate niggas?